So, it's been about 3 months since I... Go away. Go away. Sit. 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 Sit.
We've got the music makes you move it, got the song that makes you lose it. We say jump, you say how high, put your hand.
As I was saying, it's been about 3 months since I received this book. Here, maybe you can see it better with the light. Too much light. There, yes. The Journal of the Two Sisters. Shut up! Now, you might remember the video I made in which I unpackaged this book, showing off its contents and all that. Now, I said in that video, well, I mentioned I was going to talk, doing some sort of review of it once I finished reading it. Well, I did finish reading that dog. I did finish reading this book a while ago, to be honest, but I never found the time to actually talk about it in a full video. Meanwhile, I happened to notice how the notion that this book exists had changed the fandom. I mean, in really subtle ways. After all, this is a headcanon burning scenario, this book is, and I happened to notice how that changed some of the perspectives in the fans when it comes to the origins of the land of Equestria, and particularly the titular royal sisters. Which is an interesting scenario, to say the least. I won't spoil what happens in this book, what is mentioned and what is not mentioned, but I will tell you my opinion of it. It's a nice reading. As far as shows derivative merchandise, this is possibly the second best product after the actual comics, which you might argue the comics are actually the better thing that came out of this whole franchise, because they're really good for the most part. Now, follow my tale of these two sisterly books, book, journal, what have you, as I venture in the roads of my courtyard. Now, this book was written by I want to be sure I get the name right. Jason Young Stewart, jacket design, blah blah blah. I'll figure it out later. I'll post the name here. Anyway, this book was written by the same writer of such beloved episodes of the show as Pinky Pride and Testing 1 2 3, just to mention season 4. So you know this is going to be quality writing, because the writer of those particular episodes is actually known for being really good at character development. As such, this is what we actually get for the most part in this book. We get an interesting development, or I should say an interesting outlook, an inner look at Luna and Celestia as they were younger, more naive, and they just became their, shall we say, path as the rulers of Equestria. We get to see how they became rulers, why they became rulers. We get to know where they come from, and more importantly, we get to know why they are immortals and what they do in the early days of their ruling. We get to see what their own discovery about friendships, which are reported in this book as entries of a diary or a journal, which makes thematic sense, considering the second half of this book is filled with the journal entries of the main six in present-day Equestria, which creates an interesting thematic connection and parallel. Now, here's what this book does right, as far as revealing informations without, revealing too much information, is using a modicum, shall we say modicum, dose of vagueness. What I mean by that, follow me. We are told where they do come from, or rather, what they effectively are, the princesses I mean, but we are not told more about that, which means that while we are granted with some fundamental information when it comes to the canon of the show, the information is still vague enough that it doesn't really destroy the fascination that we have for this particular lore. We can still speculate things. There are still questions there are new questions that arise with the new answers, and that all manages to enlarge the scope of this universe in all the right ways. Now, you could complain that all the characters that are mentioned in the diary entries of the princesses seems to be contrived. The idea that they're all living in the same period of time. I mean, I'm talking about characters like Starswirl the Bearded and all those pony leaders mentioned in the Heartwarming Heats pageant. But it's not really all that bothering. And to tell you the truth, oh look, a kitty cat. To tell you the truth, that actually works. Shy are you? That actually works for the benefit of the characters themselves. You get to see Princess Luna interacting with the princess of Unicornia, the one that was interpreted by Rarity in the pageant. You get to see Luna. Luna is the one that does the most interesting things, to be honest. Befriending a manticore or having a flight race with Commander Hurricane. Described in the diary entries, that is. Now, for the characters themselves. They are brilliant. Princess Celestia is described as basically as Twilight Sparkle. It turns out that in her early days, in her younger days, when she was an inexperienced princess, she was much like her former prize student. She was a bit neurotic, afraid of how the others would see what she does, worried and concerned about living up the expectations that others would put on her. And she loved reading. She was a bookworm. So yes, that is fascinating and so incredibly appropriate. While Luna is the fun character one. I mean, she's very much how she's described in the comics. She is an adventurous spirit, an outgoing spirit, and she has plenty of adventures, and she's into pranks, as it was mentioned in the Castlemania episode, by the way. And she also befriends a manticore. Yes, a manticore. That is something that happens. Well, yes, I think that's it. That's it when it comes to the part about the sisters and diary entries. I won't tell you more because that might constitute a spoiler. And there are a couple of things that deserve to be discovered for yourself. As far as the second half of the book, which is the one about the main six entries, I was going to think that was the weakest portion of the book. It turns out it isn't. You see, the diary entries, the journal entries, I should say, delivered by the main six in the book, they are presented in a way that's slightly different from how they are presented in the show. Moreover, there are also entries that are not at all mentioned in the show. They are basically, but the ones that are also mentioned in the show, they are a bit more. They have a bit more depth. There's a bit of more depth in how they are presented. They go a bit more into depth about what one of the main six learned at a specific event or episode. And this is a nice little detail. We actually get to see the journal entries that are related to the discovery of one's own symbolic key of rainbow power unlocking bonanza, marked in yellow by Discord. So yes, presentation-wise, this is impeccable. Like I said, it provides an interesting look into the psychology or emotional state of early Equestria days princesses, while providing a thematic parallel with how the main six are at this particular point in time. Ciao! Grazie! Speaking of thematic connection, here's a couple of guys riding horses. They know me. Well, this was awkward. But anyway, I think I lost my train of thought. But anyway, conclusive thoughts, yes. I think it's a must-own for any fan of the show. It will keep you entertained for a while, and the writing is solid. Well, considering it's primarily aimed at children, the writing is pretty solid. It works on many levels. Now, you might find the reason why these princesses became immortal, because they were not immortal to begin with, and that's all I'm going to spoil to you, a bit forced. But in retrospect, it does make a lot of sense. I mean, in the context of how this universe tends to work, and all the magic and all that. So, yes. The Journal of the Two Sisters. It's quite nice. Now, where's that pesky dog? Moses! 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 Oh, there he is. There you are! There you are! Come here. Here. Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog? Well, you aren't, that's for sure. Well, okay, thank you for joining me, everybody. This has been Madhog the Master, and this has been Mose, which is Italian for Moses. Well, see you next time.